Daniel, you got something for the people? What's going on, man?
Yeah, so this is a nice story. This is kind of an update on a story we've talked about before. This has to do with Briahna Joy Gray. And
Mm-hmm.
it's good to see someone in Bernie camp that's actually holding the torch of, hey, I'm not going to back Biden. And I think she makes a number of really important points in this article that arguably we've been saying Sanders should have done even 1% of, and he just gave up, sadly. He didn't fight. But
Yeah.
she is, and she's making good points. So let's talk about that real quick. So, Bernie Sanders' former press secretary, Briahna Joy Gray, told The Atlantic in an interview on Thursday that Joe Biden has not done enough to secure her endorsement or the votes of many progressive Democrats. Why it matters? Sanders, who endorsed Biden 5 days after suspending his own campaign, had said that it would be irresponsible for his supporters to not back the Democratic candidate over Trump in November. Now there's a couple things into that. I don't think it's irresponsible because I don't believe in voter shaming as a concept.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I will say this again. I hate that I have to reference it to Sanders. But isn't it interesting how Democrats who claim to be for democracy so quickly turn into authoritarians when you don't vote the way they think you should?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm going to continue with this article. The big picture, Gray, like other influential Sanders surrogates, stressed that progressives still have leverage, something Sanders didn't take advantage of, basically at all. I mean, he could have. I mean, like, wouldn't it have been nice if Sanders had left? This is just an aside from the article, but like, wouldn't it have been nice if Sanders had left and he was like, okay, when I suspended my campaign and endorsed Biden, Biden has guaranteed that he will make marijuana legal. Just some stuff that he could do as an executive order.
Right.
We literally just covered a story yesterday where Biden is still the only candidate who is refusing to make cannabis legal. Kamala Harris said she would make cannabis legal. So why couldn't Bernie Sanders, when he was talking to Obama, go, Obama, I would like, I see your point, but he has to make a few concessions, even if they're not big ones. He has to make a few concessions because I need at least half-eaten the pizza, as Kit put it. But he didn't even get a crumb. He just got it's now your job to mop up the youth vote. Anyway, the big picture, all right, they stress that they have more leverage to move Biden to the left until the primary season officially ends. She said her vote is contingent on whether or not Joe Biden supports Medicare for all, canceling student loan debt, canceling medical debt, having a wealth tax. What she's saying, Gray explained that that the thinking behind the tweet earlier this month in which she disagreed with Sanders' endorsement of Biden. By the way, I also hate to see all the Biden people who hate Bernie Sanders pretend to go, well, Bernie Sanders said it, so you should do it too. What they really just mean to say is do what I say, not what I do. Anyway, telling The Atlantic that her endorsement would neither be politically beneficial or, frankly, ethically appropriate. Gray called it frustrating that leaders of the progressive movement are supporting establishment politics without gaining concessions on the policy issues. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
AOC hasn't done that. AOC is like, I mean, she's done some. It's like she's done some stuff. It's like, I don't know. It's like not enough, obviously. But she had a thing where but she's not calling out Nancy Pelosi. She's not doing any of that. And here's the other thing. I think she's probably aware that they're going to redistrict her district out of existence once the census happens. So what's she going to do anyway? She's talked about maybe running against Chuck Schumer, but I would I would give her money if she actually did stuff to maybe earn her vote or not earn her vote, but earn my support in that run. But that's not happening either. Elizabeth Warren was beyond a complete letdown. She was so negative in everything she did. She just came. Warren walks in as like, oh, maybe she could sort of work almost like half as good as Sanders. And she left hated as much as Hillary Clinton. So this is reasonable. This is so reasonable. Why? Okay, so wait, you're telling me Democrats that people by your own math, Bernie Sanders isn't popular. He only got 30%. Okay, fine. You're telling me that you're not going to do anything that 30% of your base wants to do, but you're going to demand that they vote for you anyway. Right. Okay, I see.
So recently I saw on social media where Bernie Sanders is talking about fighting for the post office. And I get it. Look, post office is important. But every time right now I'm hearing Bernie speak, I almost want to tell him to shut the hell up. I mean, he quit. He didn't lose. He quit. This is this right now, COVID-19 and this economic depression we're entering into. It's tailor-made for him to fight for his progressive policies. I mean, this was his opening shot and he didn't take it. And thankfully there is Briahna Greyjoy, who Wait, did I say her name right?
Briahna Joy Gray.
Yeah.
Briahna Joy Gray. Screwed that up. Well, at least she's stepping up. At least she's fighting back, and at least she's explaining why she's not going to support and vote for Joe Biden. Because you know what? I have a problem with Joe Biden and these vote blue no matter who Democrats. You're not offering anything. What is Biden's policies? What is Biden fighting for? What is he doing? What is he even saying? I mean, have you seen the man speak? He's all over the place. He's going to get slaughtered when Trump and him debate. Don't tell me that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The only way they're going to avoid this crisis if somehow the convention picks somebody else. But then, oh no, wait, we wasted a whole year and a half, all those debates, all those primaries on nothing then. Democrats, you really know how to lose things, don't you? Jose.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. I mean, it's Democrats. It's a shit party. You know, it's pretty bad. There's no discipline. It's a bunch of gangsters trying to get a bunch of money off of different trees. And I will say, you know, like AOC's on her own, like, and Bernie's on his own too. I mean, like, guys, people didn't show up. Like, the youth didn't show up to vote. Like, we can be pissed of him all we want. Like, he's in the middle with all these white nationalists and Democrat gangsters. Everyone's just trying to like shake down billionaires for money, and Bloomberg's over there trying to play SimCity with the world and doing a terrible job, you know.
But he
and
could have fought. Bernie could have really fought, man.
I still think he's fighting. I still think he's fighting. I do think he's got those working groups. But this is what I will say. Briahna, has come out of the Bernie camp, and she's the only person that's really speaking sense right now. And those things are not, you know, accidental. She is taking a huge risk, you know, professionally and personally, to be smeared in the media for her politics and for her stances. She's kind of been someone that the media has been portraying as shooting from the hip, and just like a, you know, and fire-breathing dragon. I think she's being pretty careful about the move she's making right now, because it is a signal, you know, that the Democratic Party is an unworkable coalition of, you know, corporate money at the very top doing its best to corral working class people and dividing them up by social issues. I mean, we're all pretty savvy to that, and we still can't help but play into it because the Republicans are so disciplined and their obstinance of like, look, guys, we really don't care if you die. It's about my bottom line. We've accepted that as their human condition to cohabitate in this country.
So sad.
It is sad.
Oh my God.
And the Democrats, is, you know, to their credit, that is precisely their role, to condition us to that cohabitation with that kind of obstinance from the Republican Party. They're like, we care whether you live because we care about your tia or your ama or your working class, you know, Aunt B, but they don't give a shit. You know, like, the Republican Party say, we don't care whether you live or die. It's about the bottom line of capitalism. And we're like, well, I mean, there's some kind of reasonableness to that. No, there's not. Not during a pandemic. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm furious at the Democrats, and they deserve the gulag and the guillotines just as much. But like, why aren't we raiding Michael Bloomberg's tower right now and like lifting him up by his like little bootstraps and like, you know, tar and feathering him? Like, why aren't we doing that? Like, why are we going to Republicans, you know, leadership, McConnell's house mansion, and just like Molotov cocking the hell out of it? Like, you know, people been at that level since Occupy, and then you have Obama saying, hold up now, there's a reasonable way to do this, guys.
Hold on.
Go up and vote. And then he goes and fucks up all your votes by managing things in the background. So like, you know, again, Obama had a role, the Democrats have a role. I think that Bernie Sanders is being maligned into this role, and we have people like Gray who are just like, we're not going to play ball. Bernie's not going to be Obama 2.0. This is going to be different. And as much as I have a lot of outrage that feeds the energy into what I do, I love what she's doing. I think she's at the forefront, at the vanguard of where a lot of this energy is at. But someone like AOC, I do want to say, has a discipline of her own to be a stoic figure in this movement that we can rely on to a certain degree. So that's also why I just always, you know, am
I would
cautious about over criticizing him.
go ahead,
No,
Jerome.
I just want to like, and I get that, Jose. Like, I totally understand. And even when you were saying that Briahna Joy Gray is shooting from the hip and she's saying those things, that's the same reason though that I was so behind Bernie. That's the same reason that like when AOC first came on board, I'm like, yes, like these people are shooting from the hip, and then now it's like, where did that go? Why is it just Briahna Joy Gray now doing all this, and I don't see that happening with everybody that I was kind of standing behind? And that's why like I'm sitting here and we're talking about this and I'm just like, what is going on? Where did all of this support, what happened to the people that we were supporting? Why are they being so quiet now? Why are they not saying the things that we have been hearing them say? Where did all of that go? I guess that's the part that's frustrating. That's why like I can sit here every Monday through Friday and bitch about the same stuff, because I just want the answer. Like, it's like it would be like your friend that just stops talking to you or just like completely acts like, does a 180, and it's like, bro, what happened to you? Where
exactly.
who are you now?
Because because when we look at
so,
AOC, used to be on like Jimmy Dore's show some time ago. Like, Bernie Sanders used to be on independent media some time ago. He used to show up on these places, and now we don't see them. And I think with Briahna Joy Gray and how she's just constantly fighting and really making her voice heard, I mean, it's something people can rally around, because that is what people need to see and hear. It inspires people to continue to fight. And I have to say this, how do you think Trump got elected? Because he was shooting from the hip and he never once apologized. He didn't listen to people like The View or corporate media to say like, oh, well, you got to backpedal away from that, Bernie, or stop, or tell your supporters to be nice online with social media. Don't use any snake emojis. I mean, Briahna Joy Gray is fighting. And I think for her in the long run, if she keeps this up, she can gain a lot of momentum behind her, and she can actually perhaps lead the movement where Bernie couldn't, because playing nice with the establishment gets you nowhere. I mean, what's Bernie Sanders getting right now as his deal with Biden? Nothing.
So here's the other thing. So like when I was hearing you, Jose, like I completely see and understand the point of view that you're coming from, and I actually in a lot of ways agree with it. At the same time, they have to be an army of one, and an army of one is going to continue to fight, because if Sanders had said, look, I'm not going to back down unless you give me a few minor concessions. I will say again, Sanders as one person, because again, like you said, he's basically on his own in this entire field, which is completely true. He's still got 30% of people basically on his own fighting absolutely everyone else, an amount of people that if they did not vote, the Democrats know that they would lose. Sanders had power, he had leverage, he had all this stuff, and he didn't utilize it. And so like with AOC, it's like, I feel annoyed that I have to, how I ideally would like to be with AOC is I'd like to go, she has it covered over there, I'm going to cover it over here. But what I feel with AOC is, God damn it, I have to start trying to push her to the left a little bit, because there's so many people trying to throw her into the center. And I think she's going in that direction. Again, they hate AOC with a passion, so it doesn't really matter if she's nice or not. When 2020 comes and they do redistricting, her district will conveniently just not exist. That's exactly what they've been talking about. That's exactly what they're going to do. And so then if she wants to, as she's kind of talked about, maybe I'll run against Chuck Schumer, well, that would be easier to do if you had a really fervent amount of people backing you, because you were trying to fight for them. This is what I appreciated in Bernie, what I appreciated in AOC when they first started was that I knew that they were fighting a war they couldn't win, but in a way, they're setting the tone for the reinforcements that are going to come later.
Yeah.
And I don't see that from them anymore. Their power, like right now, Sanders' power is a senator. It's a vote in a Congress that sort of doesn't need it. It's not that close. He has power. He has influence. He has all these other things. He could be using them more effectively. I just feel that on Sanders' side, I think he's just kind of spent. I think 2 political campaigns took out a lot of the fight that we saw in 2016. I think that the heart attack that he had, even if it didn't affect him physically, because he seemed to be fine, I think that could have affected the way he looked at the world and his life. But I just feel like they could have done more. They had, even with the power they had, even with the terrible position they had, with everything fighting against them, they still have everyone fighting against them, but they have less people backing them in the other direction now.
Yeah. They so much more could have been done, but
Jose, go ahead.
I want to say a couple of words. I feel like they lost because their field game They were playing a field game where they thought they were in it for a long haul against multiple campaigns, and they got hoodwinked. They didn't see the establishment lining up against them, even though conceivably they should have. They were running a campaign that was anti all other campaigns. I was part of that, so I shouldn't put that like, oh, they were doing that. I was part of that. I was doing that too. But what you call it? And also, they lost because they were trying to conquer the Democratic Party, and that's not the way. That's this revolution. This whatever it's going to happen. Bernie Sanders becoming president is not going to be a revolution. A revolution is a livable wage with healthcare as a guarantee, right, tuition-free college, having your debts eliminated, so you actually have a chance of having your own life. That's a pretty damn revolution that we might be able to still accomplish in this lifetime.
I think we will.
I think that if we've got, and we're not going to stop working towards it. I think that Sanders could still become president if he tries to become the Democratic Party's president. He's the only person that's going to have delegates that might cross the 25% threshold of the convention, and Biden is sinking in the sense that he cannot win over the youth. He's not doing any kind of youth outreach. He's not moving on the policy issues. He's trying to fill his cabinet with people that have overseen the worst disparities of wealth inequality in the 90s and since the Great Depression and the recession, now entering a depression. If the progressives can make real concessions on what you call the cabinet can look like, and can accept a centrist kind of VP like Kamala Harris or something, you might see a different change of tone. Now, I am an activist. I'm a political operative. I'm a teacher assistant, really, who just talks a lot of shit. But there's
that should go on a
people like
I like it though.
There's
Jose.
people like me. There's people like me that are working this kind of crazy gambit. And that is something for the AOCs and the Bernie Sanders who are like, I don't want to be president. No, I'm a good Democrat, Pelosi. I'm not secretly happy that there are a bunch of activists pushing a challenger against you, Pelosi. I'm on your side. They have to play those games. For someone that's just a free agent, like, me and maybe people on the ground, you might have better opportunities than what I'm doing right now in front of you. But I would say that nothing is set in stone right now. Especially in the midst of this pandemic, especially because Donald Trump doesn't seem to know what he's doing. I do think that his whole chlorine thing was kind of a gaslighting to the media, to have a back and forth with them. But that's where he's at, guys. Like that's all he's got right now. He's really like, I really hope no one notices that like half of their family is dead, and I didn't do anything.
Right.
And that's
I want to say one quick thing because I know we do have to move on. I think that one thing that we should always remember is that I think that, again, we have a slight difference of opinion, but I also think that it's very important that both of our camps exist. I think if it was just the way I'm looking at it, we would be weaker because we would be less able. Like if the path that you're going down works out, which there is a chance it could. I think there definitely is. If it was just everyone was just like thinking like me or like Kit was, we would never be able to take advantage of that in that position. But it works vice versa. The fact that we're all able to work together on this and have these different perspectives and still get that we're all trying to accomplish the same goal, I think ultimately gives us even more power.